The topic that we will discuss today is phonetics, and this is the study of the speech sounds. So, if you check any book of linguistics, is going to say that this is the study of the speech sound and probably the characterization of some speech sounds and how we perceive and how we produce them. Um, so, in order to talk about like how how is the relationship between the articulators and the vocal organs and the way that they produce sounds, right? We have to talk about the articulatory system or articulatory phonetics. Here we have these parts, right, in the parts that are in charge of creating sounds, of producing sounds. So, can you guess from this table that I have here the names of the places or the places of articulation that we have here? Let me give you one. Tongue, right? We can see that 8 is the tongue, right? So why don't you take 1 minute to guess? Let's give it a guess, okay? Okay, if you are back and if you pause the video, right, and you guess these places of articulations, you may have something like this. So when we normally produce a spoken language, we don't pay too much attention about like the places of articulation, but of course in linguistics we are going to pay attention like uh, that anatomical relationship between these places and how they produce sounds. So we have uh, we're going to have the alveolar ridge, the nasal cavity, the palate, the velum, the uvula, the pharynx, the larynx, vocal folds, and the tongue. So when you breathe out, right? Uh, when you produce, excuse me, sounds, you have to breathe out, right? So and then all these places of articulations are going to be playing an important role in changing the sounds that you want to produce. Um, so we have to pay attention, or we have to describe these places to understand um, how they work when we produce a spoken language. To describe the speech sounds, we have to use three parameters here: voice, place, and manner. And I'm going to start with the voice because the voice, it's the air is going to flow here, and then the vocal folds are going to play an important role in the way that we uh, create voiceless or voiced sounds. So voiceless sounds occur when there is no obstruction for the air, so the air flows. So here we have sounds like. So if you put your hand in the Adam's apple here, and you produce this sound, you're going to notice that there is no vibration in here whatsoever, right? But if you compare it with a voiced sound, like V, and you say the first one, if you compare it like the first one and the second one, V V V V V V V V, you're going to notice that there is a vibration in the second one. This vibration is because there is an obstruction uh, that is going to push the vocal folds. So that is the first part, voiced, okay? So voice is going to depend on the airflow in the larynx, okay? The second part is the place. Again, we have to work with the airflow, right, and the obstruction that we have. So the airflow goes through the larynx, and let's say that it goes here and it encounters with your lips, right? So let's have some air and obstruct it with our lips, and then we will have sounds like these first sounds. Actually, something very interesting is that they are produced by babies, right? When the babies start creating sounds, they start with these sounds with their lips. They start saying buh, 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 right? Because these are like they don't have teeth or anything, so they start producing the first obstruction of air by using their lips. The second one is the labiodental, and in this what we have is the upper teeth and the lower lip. In this case, we can produce sounds like v, 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 right? As the ones that we saw before. We can create other sounds. But I'm just giving you some examples because there are many more sounds that we can create with these places of articulation. The dental, the tongue, tip behind the upper teeth. Here we have, for example, uh, uh, think, right? Think. So basically, when you think, right, that sound is going to be the tongue tip behind the upper teeth. Think, right? All right. The alveolar is going to be the tongue tip is going to touch the alveolar ridge here. Also, some of these sounds are going to be post-alveolar, but um, the alveolar sounds, for example, when you say Thomas, right? The first sound, when you say Thomas, that very first sound, the t, is going to touch the alveolar ridge. Your tongue is going to touch the alveolar ridge. The palatal is going to be uh, the movement that your tongue is going to do approaching the palate. And in this case, we have sounds like ch, church. Ch, 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 ch. So probably you don't notice very much, but definitely your tongue is touching the palate. Um, okay, the next one is the velar. Here we have sounds like when you say kangaroo, the first sound is going to be velar. Okay, the back of your tongue and the velar. And glottals is just the space between the vocal folds. We have, for example, when you say hotel, right? Okay, so then we have the manner. Again, we are going to work with the airflow. And in this case, what we have is that in the manner we have stops, is when the air is blocked in an abruptive way. So what we have, for example, is sounds like p, b, right? They are like they are they go the block of the air just goes really abruptly, right? So we say p, b, right? Actually, if you put a paper and if you produce the p sound, right? That is going to make this paper move, right? Because of course the air goes really fast. Then the fricatives, that is when you have some the airflow, right, escapes but through a very narrow gap. Again, let's go with the F sound. We say F, 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 and you're going to notice that the air escapes like probably somewhere between your upper teeth and your lower lip. That is just one example of a fricative. We have other fricatives, but let's continue with the F as an example. F. The affricates, they are going to be combining the the manner of an stop and an affricative. So in this case, we have, if you say, for example, shoe, 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 it's going to combine. Uh, it's going to combine both because at the beginning you start with ch, 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 shoe, sh, 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 right? You start combining a stop and a fricative. The nasals, well, the nasals are the lower volume and the air flow out through your nose. So, for example, when you say m, for example, mother, oh no, excuse me, manner, for example, manner, the word manner here, m, The first sound is going to be like and if you notice, the air is going to go through your nose, right? The liquids, um, we can have, for example, the L. When you say L, right? L, right? The air is going to escape through the sides of your, like your tongue is going to touch uh, the alveolar ridge, right? And then you're going to go, excuse me, the yes, the alveolar ridge, and then your air is going to flow through these sides of your tongue. Then we have the glides, and they move your tongue to or from a vowel. So we have seen voiced, place, and manner, and well, there is this specific chart that is called the IPA, International Phonetical Alphabet chart, and with this chart you can see that they are organized between place, manner, and voiced or voiceless. um, Voiceless, excuse me, or voiced. So here we have the place, right? This is the place, this is the manner, right? And then we can say, for example, that B, right, is voiced, voice sound, that is a bilabial stop voiced sound. And P, it would be a bilabial stop voiceless sound. Okay? So this is like the organization of the sounds for English. Of course, we have uh, other sounds. If you want to take a picture of this, or if you have this chart ready, because we're going to use it for the next exercise, where you're going to try to mention like if the sounds that I'm presenting to you are voiced or voiceless, if like you have to mention like the manner, uh, right? Excuse me, the place of articulation and the manner of articulation. So, for example, if I give you the first sound character, right, and I give you that this is the sound, the one ch, this is the sound k, right? It says here that it's voiceless, velar, and stop. Let's go back to the table for a second and remember K, right? K, and yes, it's voiceless, it's velar, and stop. Okay, so first I'm going to say if it's voiceless or if it's voiced. In this case, it's voiceless, right? Then again, the place of articulation is velar, and finally, the manner of articulation in this case is a stop. So I have here this exercise for you. Okay, I put here the sounds. Okay, so you can use the table and you can tell me if they are voiceless, uh, the place of articulation and the manner of articulation. Let's have this transcription, and with this we finish the first topic for today about phonetics. Thank you.